And a lot of that responsibility sometimes comes from a lot of men not having their shit in order.
Yeah, like updating it.
You know what I'm saying? Updating the stuff, making sure that currently the people in your life, especially if you have maybe an unmarried partner, it can be very hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When people are getting treated a certain way. Maybe you own the house together. Maybe you live together. Maybe you bought a car together. All those things, especially with black families. As soon as it's like, hey, we don't want to hear about this person. We don't recognize them traditionally, A, B, and C. That entire conversation. And a person's worth can get diminished by the most simplest thing.
They can't even come to the funeral.
It's the weirdest
thing. Why are black people like that?
Yo, I know. We're full of it, I promise you.
No, honestly.
The admin of being black.
Yeah. And it's only black people. Because when it comes to and the thing is, was also a conversation that was happening throughout Keena's procession, obviously leading up to the funeral. Everyone was just like, yeah, you see, they colored, they're involving Nadia, they're holding her, they're carrying her. They were like, black people, they would have been like, she's not married, we don't recognize her, she's not sitting in the front, she's going to be at the back with everybody else.
But it was beautiful to see.
It was so beautiful. I just love that so much. What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another dope episode of the POPcast. Of course, I'm not rolling by myself. I got my co-pilot with me, Miss Cosmo.
Hey, what's up, Moochie?
What's going on, girl?
I'm nice. How are you?
I'm not too bad. As you can see, I'm sandwiched between the ladies today.
Yes, Rijile Sama.
As you can see, everything is outside a little bit, right? It's 30 degrees out here. And of course, we got our beautiful guest, DJ Doo-Wop in the building.
What's
Thank you for having me. Finally.
We had you on POPcast Goes To. I know we caught you for 2 seconds, Nyana.
Yeah, with Money Badu.
With Badu, at Cotton Fest, and the energy was hype. Guys, let me just tell you right here, right now, that Doo-Wop is not just here, but she's committed to being here. Because the first thing she said before we started recording is like, guys, I just landed from Europe, you know what I mean? And I came straight to the POPcast.
Imagine.
So I feel very, very privileged.
She was out in Europe doing bigger things.
You know what I mean?
It was amazing.
Still make time for Africa.
For sure. Like, my focus is like worldwide.
Nice.
I'm not just going to dabble in the pool here in SA. Like, there's a whole world to conquer.
Nice.
So already this week, I was in Amsterdam, Barcelona, Madrid. Then I arrived this morning. I'm here on the POPcast.
Yes.
I'm living, babes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Nah, we love it for you, girl.
Thank you.
But we are, of course, coming to you live today from Maracana, which is in Sandton, in the heart of Sandton, just off Vierda Road. If you're familiar with where the old Sands Club used to be, then that's exactly where this new place is. It's got some new owners. It's got a new vibe to it. Still beautiful. Nice areas out here. There's still the pool. They're putting in a new pizza oven, and they slowly opening up something really, really very, very dope. So Maracana, come check it out. It is in the heart of Zandhoorn.
Yes, and the revamp is also really nice. I think I love the way that they've spaced it out and the way that they're using the spaces as well. So do come through and check it out. I know they've also got like awesome Sunday events that they do. So yeah, man, Santon, we back.
Absolutely, man. And getting straight into this week's news, like I said, last time we saw Doo-Wop was at Cotton Fest, and of course this month of February is turning out to be a pretty tough one for the South African industry.
I'm scared of February now.
Yeah.
Every year, I'm just going to be in bed. I'm not leaving. Like,
I promise.
I don't want to look at my phone. If this is how February is every year, I'm scared.
Yeah, so of course it's been a year now since the passing of Rick. Only 2 weeks now going into the passing of, we just buried AKA AKA. But what do you guys think a year later now, the legacy of Ricky Rick, how people have been managed to like carry the torch and what you want to see going forward?
Yeah, it's also going to be a year as well, even for us, for DJ Dimples, because he also passed away on the 3rd of March. It was just outside of February, but it's around the same time. Yeah. And I just think legacy-wise, all of the artists, I mean, Ricky, his fans and the family went out to Bromfontein this past week as well and did like a just paying homage to Ricky this past week, and you know, celebrating the life, the man, the legend that he is. And of course, doing it in Bromfontein is perfect because that's just the kind of guy he was. He was always about the kids, he was about the street, he was making sure that everybody gets involved in anything that he does. And
the
that's
energy is definitely still alive. Like you could see just from the videos. Also, Cotton Fest shows that the energy is alive. The kids are really pushing. It's beautiful to see.
Yeah, and Duop used to DJ for Ricky Rick. So obviously, like with all this time that's passing by and seeing how everybody's still kind of celebrating him, how do you feel? Obviously, just to make sure that energy is still alive.
I mean, he was definitely a prophet because this is kind of everything he envisioned. And he was like, even when I'm gone, like everything is still going to be flourishing. The kids are going to be alive. They're going to be electric. And for me, I think it's more about like pushing boundaries outside of South Africa. Like it's beautiful that we are proud of ourselves here and that the music is growing. But for me, like I want to show that it's really possible to be killing it worldwide. Like not just here, you know, because I think like, Brahm is cool, Newtown is cool, but now let's like take it further out. But I just love everything Ricky's done, and you can see his kids everywhere, like all them Swanko gang, like everyone just looking hella stylish, the music just being alive. And I just want to see more performers. Like we don't really have people like Ricky that were doing, you know, like this way, that way. The energy of like performances and of taking it super serious and making sure your brand looks unbelievable. I just want us to like really focus on that and really come alive. And like if you're a rapper, not only have a DJ set, like have the visuals, have a band, how AKA had a band, you know.
Absolutely.
Like let's really take the performances way more serious, because then that's how we're going to break these barriers and really become big overseas as well.
Yeah, and speaking of overseas and taking our brand internationally, we've seen, of course, Amapiano artists, especially all the young guys, over the last like 3 or 4 years, really be pushed the sound outside of just Africa and into Europe. You know what I'm saying? They're doing big things on stages like Afro Nation, for example, you know, having their own stage. What is South African music being consumed like outside there? As somebody who frequently travels into Europe and represents not just yourself but the country.
Dude, even like a few days ago on Friday, I was performing with Jazik in Amsterdam at the craziest rooftop venue you've ever seen. Everyone knew the lyrics.
Really?
It didn't, like, everyone knows Amapiano songs perfectly. Even songs that I drop and I'm like, hey, these people aren't gonna know, but let's see what they do. They singing, they dancing, they have the dance moves. I even in Paris went to like this Amapiano dance class, and I was like feeling myself. I got in there. Next thing, people were killing me with the choreography. They were like, okay, can we film it? I was embarrassed to film. I was like, nah, y'all good. You guys can film. So people are really enjoying it. And even the DJ after, so it was me, then Jazik played, and then after was this other guy from Amsterdam, and he played Gom.
Right.
And they were dancing to Gom, and I was like, yo, I should have played a Gom set. Because they were singing Umunye, they were going mad, like shaking the walls, shaking the doors. It was crazy. Like, and I really do feel that because Amapiano has artists traveling more than ever. Whenever I go to the airport, there's at least one Amapiano DJ I'm gonna see there that's going somewhere. So yeah, like we traveling for real now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nah, man, it's absolutely beautiful to see. Staying with more music right now, of course, we just spoke about Ricky, but AKA's album has since dropped as well. And the reception of it from day one was pretty dope. Of course,
unbelievable, yo.
It got millions of views on streams rather on Apple Music as well as Spotify. And then it quickly just ignited a conversation about people trying to, you know, we always speak about artists having their affairs in order and ownership of the music, and people asking questions about who does the money go to, of course, in terms of like AK having passed now and all those streams that he's getting. Does it go to his family? Does it go to his kid? But I'd like to think that that's obviously dependent on what his wishes were. You know what I'm saying? What you leave in your will or whatnot.
I think, you know what, with these conversations, I mean, even the same thing can be said even about Ricky, Dimples, City Lights, everybody who we've lost. Is I think that's also the important thing that we need to know now, while we're still alive, while we're still breathing, is to say, okay, should anything happen. Here is what I want to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's why these conversations are important, especially if you're a big deal like AKA, or if you are a big deal like Ricky. You need to at least be able to leave like a little bit of a legacy, or leave like a plan in place. And people don't like having these conversations, because when you talk about wills and you talk about insurance, you talk about everyone just gets bored and they're like, no,
it's
this
scary.
is
You don't want to
scary.
think about
I don't want to
it.
think about it. But the
Yeah.
thing is, you have to think about it.
Sure.
And the reason why I say you have to is because we're traveling all the time.
True.
And because we're traveling all the time, you don't know what could happen on a plane. You don't know what could happen on the road. You don't know what could happen even you just driving to the mall. You could be going to Santon City, you know what I mean? And anything could happen. So for me, I understand it's a very daunting conversation to have. But if you're somebody who's got such a big catalog that you know is worth that amount of money, there needs to be a plan in place.
I mean, hopefully all those artists that are on Mass Country are going to get their royalties, because he had a lot of features on that album,
Yeah.
and they were beautiful features, and I think that's what makes the album so incredible.
Yeah.
So knowing him and his incredible team, they had contracts in place and they're all getting their
100%.
pie.
But I do think it's important also to sign those things, split sheets and contracts and all of
Yeah.
that before the album is released.
Yes.
So that whoever the publisher and the label is, they're the ones who can then be responsible for it. So in this case, obviously, there would be Season and Sony to make sure that all the other artists kind of get they just do, you know?
Absolutely. I remember actually when I was watching his funeral, or AKA, and one of the guys in his team was introducing all the people that worked on the album, you know, the producers and the writers. And one of the guys he introduced, like, that's the guy that does all the splits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I remember him
Nice.
saying that
So
particular.
it's a specific guy that's holding it down.
So it's like, yo, these are the producers, these are the writers. This guy's in charge of all the admin. He does all the splits of all the guys you see here. He's the one who's makes sure that
Because
admin
it's
is done
awkward,
right.
like when you're in the studio. I'm in the studio a lot of times. It's awkward now when you're like, okay, now let's start splitting. Because you want it to be just this natural creative process.
Yeah.
But then you have to get down to that after, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you don't, it's going to be super awkward after.
I always wonder what the conversation is with when it comes to Amapiano, because you know sometimes there's a song with like 15 artists and it says firstly all the artists must get a royalty, then it's also the composers, whoever's been playing whatever instrument on there, the producers are also getting their splits, then there's also just management fees and whatever the case may be. I'm just like, yo, sometimes you don't need 15 features, just stick to one. It makes your life so much easier from an admin perspective.
But then they make bangers. So
Exactly.
what can we say?
Exactly. So I mean, I get it, but I'm also just like, get your shit in line. That's all that matters. Especially now that we can see so many weird things are happening, especially in South Africa. I mean, even losing DJ Somebody and so many people, where you're sitting back and you're like, yo, you didn't expect for you to get up and leave now. You always expect yourself to go home or whatever the case is. So just have something in place so that you know, they can figure it out afterwards.
Absolutely, and I think what Duop just said is true. One thing that you don't want to bring into a creative space is like you feel like you're killing the vibes.
Yeah.
But I think there's a balance. You know what I'm saying? You definitely don't want to be like, yo guys, before we get creative,
Yeah.
But at the same time, you get like, yo, this is a conversation that we need to have when all this is said and done. Because I think people are scared to do it in the moment, but also afterwards. It's like, I'm sure at some point we'll bring up. It's like, okay, the song is recorded now, so the vibes have already been laid down.
I think it's best if you
know
do
what
it
I mean?
after.
Yeah, and I'm saying
But maybe also mention it before, like, okay, guys, we're in the studio, but listen, this is the homie that's going to talk about split sheets later. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Yeah.
We're going to all eat so let's get into it. And then we
Yes.
go into it. And then at the
Yeah.
end, it's like, okay, cool. Like we said, these are the split sheets, you know? But it's not easy. Now
It's
you're coming
not.
with
It's not.
percentages. The other person's like, but I wrote more than the. No, but
Yeah.
I did produce it.
I think
It's
those
hard.
conversations are definitely why you see a lot of people work together and then never work together again. Because I think it's
Exactly.
the way that people bring it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you sit there and you're like, man, I wonder why these people don't collaborate anymore. I wonder why those people don't collaborate anymore. I wonder why these guys used to have such a great vibe together. I wonder why they're not trying to revisit that vibe. But I feel like it's things like that. People are scared to have tough conversations or get offended by people bringing real shit up and be like, hey man, I'm here to make the music and we can sit all night and record 20 songs, no problem. But as long as after that we take care of the business, then
For
people.
sure.
But I say if people get mad when you bring up shit like that, then already
That's
the-
already a red
it's
flag.
already a red flag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that
For
person
sure.
is gonna come wanting 50% and they've done 2%.
You know what I mean?
Don't do it, my brother. Don't do it.
So let's be very careful with people who, when you bring up real shit, are accusing you of killing vibes. You know what I'm saying? I think it's about how you bring up conversations and in respectful ways, but definitely have those, because too many times we're seeing with artists don't have those conversations, and of course things get sour later.
Or they pass away, like Brenda Fassie, and then
Yeah.
their whole family doesn't get to chow, and
Exactly.
it's political forever.
Absolutely, man.
Tricky.
It can be very, very tricky. So get your shit in order. But I will say, you guys were saying this when we're talking about wills. You guys got your shit in order?
I mean, I do.
Real talk.
I don't know about Miss Madrid over here, who was on a plane.
Real
I'm
talk.
talking a lot, but no, I don't have a will in place. I won't lie. Like I've been good with split sheets, but when it comes to my will and all of that, like nah.
Do you know what also the tricky part is about putting things like that together?
Yeah.
Is that a lot of the time, like when you go to these institutions, they'll say, okay, so what do you own? And then you sit back like, nothing besides like me and myself and
my
and my
DJ
clothes. And my clothes.
Going through your list,
My headphones.
Okay, there's
Just my
an
headphones.
Xbox at the house. There's an Xbox at the house. You guys must talk about who's gonna get the Xbox. There's 2 plasma TVs. Yeah, but these things cash. Yeah,
These things are real.
these things are my possessions.
So I think you just have to talk about like the things you own, which is obviously like clothes and TVs and stuff, which
Yeah.
are very minimal things. But obviously, when it comes to like cars and houses, that's where they want to get involved.
Of course.
But it's important because you still own this. Like I think royalties are it's an intellectual property. You still have to then
100.
say who it belongs to. So AKA needed to at least mention to say, Cairo, you are getting everything.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we didn't ask you.
I have some of my affairs in order. Some of them
Okay.
need to get updated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I will say that. Some of my shit needs to get updated. Like, well, I haven't done it in a very, very long time. And things.
And now you're mooching for one baby, no
and
longer
dilo-
for the babies.
Dilo di change sheets. You know?
You change sheets, no.
Lady change sheets. So I have to update all that stuff. But I will say just to that, because a lot of men get accused of this. You know what I'm saying? They'll be having, whether they have children, wives, girlfriends, whatever. And then they pass away, and then you find out that, the 3 wives ago is the person who must get things. You know what I mean? The kids that you have right now, your parents aren't taken care of, your siblings, whatever, your partner that you live with, that you've built a life
And then
with,
there's kids
is
that are
left-
popping out from
is
nowhere.
iced out in the cold. And
I
a
hear
lot
you.
a lot of that responsibility sometimes comes from a lot of men not having their shit in order.
Yeah, like updating
You know what I'm
it.
saying? Updating the
Yeah.
stuff, making sure that currently the people in your life, now, especially if you have maybe an unmarried partner, it can be very hard. You know what I'm saying? When people are getting treated a certain way, maybe you own the house together, maybe you live together, maybe you bought a car together. All those things, especially with black families, as soon as it's like, hey, we don't want to hear about this person, we don't recognize them traditionally, A, B, and C, that entire conversation.
Yo.
And a person's worth can get diminished by the
For
most
sure.
simplest thing.
They can't even come to the funeral.
It's the weirdest
Why
thing.
are black people like that?
Yo, I know we're full of it, I promise
No,
you.
honestly,
The admin of being black.
Yeah, and it's only black people because when it comes to like, and the thing is, was also a conversation that was happening throughout Keena's procession, obviously leading up to the funeral. Everyone was just like, yeah, you see, they colored, they're involving Nadia, they're holding her, they're carrying her. They were like, black people, they would have been like, she's not married, we don't recognize her, she's not sitting in the front,
Yep.
she's gonna be at the back with everybody else.
But it was
Why,
beautiful to
Ninja,
see,
but
It was so
Wamnyama?
beautiful. I just love that so
man.
much.
The whole
actually.
interaction between the whole family,
Yes.
between Nadia, between
Between
Cairo.
Zintle and Nadia and Cairo,
Cairo
everybody.
comforting Zintle.
It was
and
very, very warm. And also, I say that to say, we remember, for example, when WHP passed away and Lerato literally trying to get
that was
recognized.
very
Yeah.
tough.
Excuse me.
That was
Lerato
tough.
trying to get recognized. And it was very tough. But also, I say, it's like a day. You know what I mean? It's a funeral. It's a day.
Yes.
Even if I say that there's bad blood, I'd be like, I've been to funerals where I've seen people pretend like things are okay. And then afterwards, like, when people are gone, we'll speak as a family behind closed doors, but we're not going to try and embarrass anybody in front of, or make anybody feel, because it's just one day, literally, where somebody's
Let's
just
put
trying to
some
say
respect.
goodbye, put some respect on the person and the people that are there, and then do everything else afterwards. But yeah, man, like I said, that Nadia moment was cool to see, but niggas, get your affairs in
Together.
order.
Yeah.
All you niggas out there, especially if you got kids, 1 kid, 2 kids, 17 kids, it don't
Hey, even
matter.
the kids that you don't know about, make sure.
These
just-
niggas be knowing. You know the kids that you know about, and the kids that you don't know
And
about.
that's the thing. Every man knows when there's another child because that child knows which funeral to go to on that Saturday morning.
Yeah, how do they know?
So how do they know which funeral to go to unless you didn't know that you are the father of that child? Please, can we stop having children we don't know at funerals? I pick. Can we be a better generation? Yo.
Hey, man. We're going to take it to the States and speak about another cotton eater. Now, when this news broke, I don't know if I'm the one who's confused because I'm not a fashionista. I'm reminded a lot by the likes of Bumis Cosmo.
Wow.
Pharrell Williams recently announced as the new creative director of Louis Vuitton, taking on the role that Virgil Abloh had. Now, like I said, because maybe I'm not a fashionista, I wasn't understanding
talk, boy.
what
I'm a
was going on.
fashionista.
Yeah, I want to hand it over to you guys because I was confused because it seemed, I thought everybody would have been happy. Oh, Pharrell Williams, oh sure, he's always been that guy. He's always been known for his fashion. But it seemed people were split and saying, oh yeah, well, not this guy though.
No, but we're always going to be split. Obviously, like Virgil is massive shoes to fill.
Yeah.
But there was someone that they had put just before him, Kid Super. I don't
Yeah.
know if you saw, but he dropped a collection collaboration with Louis Vuitton like 2 months ago in Paris. I was actually there.
Yes.
Or invite the little meme, yo.
So listen, so he now is a white guy. So they were like, how can you guys now go to a white guy after Virgil, after everything we did with streetwear?
Yeah.
And even though his collection was superb, people were just not feeling it. So then suddenly out of the blue, they were like, yo, by the way, Pharrell is the creative director. So I feel like it was something that they felt like they had to do, make sure that they have someone of color, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel like Pharrell can do it. Like, and I think it's been more positive responses than negative, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's crazy though that you say that because he's a white guy that people just aren't feeling it. But you said like his line of what he had produced was actually pretty dope.
Yeah, but
so
like,
is the job not about the creative that they
No,
need to
but it's
release
more
than
like-
it is about his color.
what was dope about Louis Vuitton at the moment during the Virgil time is that it was streetwear, and like we were revisiting it and bringing that into the luxury space, because we know for decades or even longer, streetwear has been like creating a space for itself, and it is like $1 billion industry, but it has
Yeah.
never been in the luxury department, right?
Yeah.
So Virgil was the one like to transition everything into that space and open doors for a lot of people of color. But now it was like, okay, so how are we going to put a white guy after all of that? We're going backwards. Because yes, his
Okay.
stuff is dope, but where was he referencing it from? He's referencing it from black culture. So it's like, we
Okay, I
can't
hear
do
that.
that. Like now we're just doing what has always been done, you know?
Oh, the appropriation. I get that. I
Absolutely.
get
Yeah, I
that.
think that's the biggest
That's the
cry
main
go to
thing.
why they put Pharrell. Whether or not people think Pharrell might be the best person or the most in touch now versus when he was much younger, I think is another argument. But putting Pharrell there makes sense, absolutely. Because
Definitely.
Virgil, he, and of course Kanye West, the walls that they were breaking down in the fashion industry in Europe to
And
try and
he
get
had,
black people in those spaces.
Billionaire Boys Club,
Yeah.
like he's been doing a lot, and also he had like really close connections with Chanel for long,
Yeah.
like Karl Lagerfeld. So if he can merge like the Chanel high end with the BBC Boys, that could be amazing.
Yeah.
I can swear on him.
Yes, you
That
can.
could be fucking dope.
Or did you say
I was like, sister, don't worry. This is YouTube. Don't worry.
finish your sentence?
No,
please?
like I think it's actually going to be incredible if he has like creative freedom to do what he
Yeah.
was doing back then, referencing that streetwear and bringing in a Chanel vibe. It'll be
Yeah.
dope.
But I think also bringing in somebody like a Pharrell, they need to at least be able to trust him. Number one, like you're mentioning, he's got the track record that shows that he's got the vision and he's got the creative to kind of do it. And I think with the kind of space that they had given Virgil at the time when he was still there, they had basically said, bro, you run this is your thing, as opposed to kind of restricting him a lot of the places, a lot of the time. So I like the fact that they're very open to just saying, yo, we're going to take your direction on this, because yes, we're an old school brand, but we don't know what's happening right now. And you're the
Exactly.
guy on the ground, so you need to show us, you know?
I love it. I think
Yeah.
it's exciting to see.
Do you guys see an international brand for yourselves, right, that you think you could contribute to creatively? Locally or international, that you like, Miss Cosmo, this speaks to you, or Doo-Wop, this speaks to you? Like, give me a little chance. I think I could spice things up out here.
Oh, I don't know if I could. Geez, I think because my head has always been like music based, I'd have to kind
Yeah.
of think about it. But you're more the fashion sister.
I mean, I would definitely, but I would have loved to do something with Ricky.
Yeah.
I would love to do like a collab and drop a whole collection with him.
Yeah.
Personally, by myself, I don't know. I've actually never thought about that. That's an awesome question.
Yeah.
It might come. Like, I'm so into fashion, it might come in the future. You know, look how long it took Pharrell to get to this point. So you
Yeah.
never know.
Absolutely, because I'm trying to think of who's done street culture the best in South Africa.
I'm trying to even think
You know
of
what I'm
a
saying?
street.
I'm going back to thinking
Okay,
about
there's
Loction
Bhutan.
culture.
Yeah.
You know, the guys that was doing it
Luxury
out of
culture.
nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who
There's
else
Loction
is
culture.
there?
Bhutan's done a lot.
Yeah.
Drip is doing major things right
Yeah,
now.
but they just have coins. It's not necessarily about Muswanko.
Okay.
Yeah, let's keep it about
Like,
Okay.
let's be honest. If we're talking about like now, it's not stuff.
street culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
where we're
you're
gonna-
talking about breaking boundaries and not necessarily just like
Yeah,
getting
not
people.
just making quick fashion. Like
Okay.
fast selling.
The reason why I bring them up is because fast fashion is also just a very big thing that we can't bypass it.
Yeah.
Because
especially here in South Africa,
especially here in
because
South
of the
Af-
coins.
Exactly. So fast fashion is something we still have to appreciate because that's where a lot of our consumers can afford to be in.
I hear you.
South Africans can't afford to buy high-end stuff from Louis Vuitton or maybe even buy very expensive Supreme or whatever the case may be because it's just not in their bracket. Yes, from a culture perspective, that's where we want to sit. But right now, if people can only afford Drip, if people can only afford Batu, that's where they're going to be. And that's why some of those brands will do things a little bit more lower LSM, but it works for their market because
But I also feel like there is a massive market for it. It's like how people thought like Fenty makeup, there wasn't enough people of color to buy makeup, which was like the silliest thing.
Yeah.
And that's why she made so much money so quickly, because she was like, there's a huge market of black people that do want makeup. Stop acting like there isn't. And I think like there's a huge market in SA of people with guap that will be able to afford high-end streetwear vibes, you know? I just feel like there's no real designers right now that are killing it like that. And I'm still trying to think, who else? Is it Galax Boy?
Yeah, Galax Boy's doing
They're not bad.
Yeah, I think brands like that deserve to be given because when you produce at that sort of high quality, of course, it is limited in what he's actually putting out. You know what I'm saying? So like your stores everywhere around the country because his brand is in order for it to grow, it's going to need a lot of cash injection. So I'm feeling like investors.
He needs that drip guap.
Yeah, whatever the money that drip guys are coming from, you know, Galax Boy could benefit from that. But because I feel like there's a really big gap, of course. South Africans love fashion. They'll assimilate to it, especially if the price point is right. That the beautiful place between creativity meets like the right price point and the right cool people actually leading it. Because sometimes you look at some
shit.
shit.
I need to start my brand.
I'm telling you.
The way we
let's
talk,
go.
I'm like, you know what? Actually, there's a whole space there.
And maybe
whole
now's
thing.
the time.
There's a void.
I promise you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people are sitting there going, and the people you put in front of it matters as well. Because Africans can be so divided to be like, oh, it's Sipo promoting it. That shit must be whack. You know what I mean? Everything's associated like, oh, Sipo, that shit is whack. But you put a right person behind it, for example, you're like, oh, what brand is this? Oh, that's Ricky's name behind it. Everybody loves Ricky, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, it's immediately cool because of who's putting it out there.
Yeah.
So it's very important, the branding around it as well.
What do you think about the branding around, what's Casper's drink? The B.
Oh, Biliato.
Biliato with
So,
I love that he got Dos as a brand
Is
ambassador.
it?
I think that is the most mind-blowing thing. I love it so much, especially because what I dig about it is that he's also recognizing the fact that being an owner of a brand like that, it can't always be your face, number one. And number two, because we've got brand ambassadors trying to get like really dope deals in South Africa, he's also saying, yo, I know what my people want. I'm going to pioneer this thing by putting money behind Dos and making him the face of my brand. I think it's amazing. I love the photo shoot. I love the way they put it together. I think Dos is sexy, but that's a conversation for another day. But you know, I'm just like, yo,
the right time. You're right.
It was perfect.
Right time, right person.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he represents billions, but he represents like the wanting of billions.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's aspirational.
the hustle. But also talking about brand alignments and whether it works or it doesn't. I mean, somebody who it didn't really work out, and it's starting to confuse me a little bit is with Beyonce, and Ivy Park, because I was just like, okay, but her numbers didn't really sell as much, and with Yeezy, obviously it sold a lot, especially with the Adidas collab, because I think with Kanye, what he does so well is that he believes in the brand, he wears the brand. He's 100% presenting it all the time.
Yes.
I think the only times I've ever seen Beyonce wearing Ivy Park is when she's doing a shoot, right? And I think if you're somebody who is believing in your brand, you need to wear the brand so people believe. Like Zintle does it so well. Zintle will be era top to bottom, the hair, majesty top to bottom, everything, the boulevard at the club, everything. She's just wearing her brands because she believes in them. You can't say you're launching a brand and then you're only seen in it once a year.
That's so true. I was actually trying to think why Beyonce's Ivy Park wasn't working, because I did read up on that like last week that it wasn't working. And I was like, but how? It's Beyonce. But you're right. It's because she doesn't rock the brand.
Exactly.
She doesn't. She's not making it cool by herself. You know what I'm saying? There's something about, and everything around it seemed cool. The drops would come out. People would get very excited. You know what I'm saying? The people are lining up, not just the ladies, but the guys too. And then it just kind of dies down after these drops happen. You know what I'm saying? Even the celebrity she sends press drops to, like they
don't
receive
even
it. They don't even rock their shit. You know what I'm saying?
Some of them don't even post.
And I think something about it is that, you know, because fashion is tricky. You know, not all clothes are functional wear. Some of them are like occasional, like I can rock it only at this specific time. And I feel like she's not making every day rock me wherever I'm at. You know, like you can wear Yeezys every single fucking day. There's a range of them. You know what I'm saying, for you to choose from. There's an exclusivity thing about it. You know what I'm saying?
But also Kanye shows us how
Kanye wears them
rock
every
it.
single day.
Yeah.
Every picture, because he knows they're going to follow him everywhere he goes.
Yes.
Before they drop, we're like, all the new users are coming out.
Yes.
There's a new picture of Kanye West
We want them.
acting a fool somewhere, but you know, people are just focused on the what's that shoe though? You know what I mean? And
That
when it
boot.
drops,
Yeah.
the hype is there, and they were right in how they use the hype beast. You know what I'm saying? And getting in with the kids that want the exclusives and making sure that they're excited because they know that's gonna feed down the entire ecosystem of sneakers. Understanding where you're playing. So I think with Ivy Park, it just doesn't seem like there's one clear thought of what they're trying to achieve. You know what I'm saying? They'll come out with like 7 pieces, and everyone's just like, I get a jagged, and then I'll get
But
a
you
tight.
can't even get half of the pieces.
And then they're
That's
very
the-
expensive, and
They're very expensive and they're also hard to buy.
Yeah.
There's never anything in stock.
You
There's
go to
never
the store, they're not there.
they're not there. And when they are there, it's like 40 million just for like a jacket.
Yeah.
And it's like, but who is your target market?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the drops that she did, she had sent them to a lot of her celebrity friends. They're not going to post every day wearing Ivy Park. Why? Because they want to get paid. So if they're not going to wear it, then why are you giving it to the millionaire friends of yours when you could be giving it to like real influencers who want to wear your stuff? You can pay them to post, and then you can get a little bit more traction from that perspective. I mean, if you even if you bring it locally and we think about, again, I am going to bring it back to drip because I understand you're saying that it's coins and there's a lot of it that's kind of being driven in the back there.
Yeah.
But I think the belief system in the people that they've brought on as brand ambassadors also kind of helps because they're now sitting back and saying, okay, like Casper says, let me give my own shoe then, because if I'm going to invest my time into this brand, then I'm also going to then wear my shoe. I'm going to make people understand that this is something I'm putting myself into. Zintle as well, obviously, as I'd mentioned with her, with Era, she lives and she breathes her brand, and that's how you get it out there.
Yeah.
I think it's important to also make it accessible to people so they can get it.
and you yourself to seem accessible. I think there's a thing
Yeah.
about Beyonce, her question
She's
and her
untouchable.
status is
Doesn't do
undeniable.
interviews,
But
doesn't smile, doesn't
literally
small
saw-
talk, nothing.
I literally saw her. She wrote after the Grammys. She wrote on her Instagram a thank you to her fans. You know what I'm saying, and it sounded like a person. Beyonce almost never does that. And in the comment section, her own fans are like, yo, thank you for talking to us. Thank you so much for talking to us and just like telling us how you feel and connecting with us.
Yeah.
If you did this more often,
Showing
oh my
your
God.
heart.
Just showing us like,
Yeah.
I'll be chilling. You know, like what that one time a year where she'll repost like TikTok videos and be like, oh, I see all you guys. And everyone's like, oh shit, we actually exist to you. That's so
I
good.
get
Like
you.
for all the love that she gets and the
Yeah.
respect that she has from her fan base and how much they stand and fight for her, it would be like, sometimes it's just seeming like you're just a girl next door, and being able to be like, yeah, I'm Beyonce, but when I can
Yeah.
drop some shit,
You're
I can.
relatable.
Yeah, I'm relatable. I'm also accessible. I'm not hidden up in the hills, and you only hear from me once every 5 years. Because people, it's forgettable that way. If you feel disconnected from that person's brand themselves. When both Rihanna's and whatever are putting out their makeup, they're there doing the tutorials themselves.
Yeah.
They know exactly that people want to feel connected direct, and social media is supposed to do that. But even with that, it feels like there's a barrier. So I feel like Ivy Park's problems are a lot, but I feel like they're easy to fix if the person.
I mean, look at us
herself.
already here. We're handling it.
Yeah, no, just send this video to Beyonce.
Beyonce, if you see this, my sister.
We
Tessie,
got
when you drop this, I want you
Got
to
you.
take Beyonce, okay? Maybe we'll get a response from the Queen. Speaking of Queens, we got one with us right here, Miss
Oh,
Cosmo.
wow.
Before we wrap up the news, of course, we saw you being featured on Spotify's Wall of Legends,
Yes.
Women in Hip Hop. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah,
Appreciate it.
Zandla lapho ekhaya.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Congratulations, girl.
Thank
Got no
you.
famous as well. I be sitting out here thinking I'm saying more regular.
I was also on that Spotify thing, by the way.
Oh really? Shout out,
Even though
Let's
I
go.
won't consider myself a woman in hip hop, but I was there. I was featured.
I mean, you're a friend of hip hop. I mean, because
I'm a friend of hip-hop.
you were definitely a hip hop queen way before you got into a lot of the different genres that you play as well. I mean, before you got into dubstep and stuff. So shout outs to you.
Thank you. Shout out to you, Queen.
Thanks, man. I mean, I appreciate it. I didn't even expect it, if I have to be honest, firstly. But also, I love the fact that Spotify has got a mandate to celebrate women doing different things. Outside of women doing different things, also just the different genres and how they put us on such a big platform. I'm sure you guys had seen how they had put Super Mega up on Times Square,
Wow.
Yeah.
which I also thought was just phenomenal. Best timing as
Yeah.
well for that. But every time that Times Square screen had gone up, it's always Spotify. And I have to give them their flowers for that, because they're also recognizing to say, yo, people are doing different things around the world. We don't only have to concentrate on just what's happening in America. Here's what's happening in South Africa. Here's what's happening in Nigeria. Here's what's happening in the UK. And they're putting it on such a big platform like Times Square for people to also then say, oh, this is dope. Maybe I can go and check it out when I go home, to kind of expand the marketing from that perspective, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's, like you said, it has been a lot of women that they've been putting on the Times Square billboards, which has been amazing. We saw Durban Gogo there.
Yeah. Uncle Waffles, yeah.
Come on, Pella, I know had something with her. And also, even with Spotify podcast, they gave a shout out, and there's a program they put Lesego Tlabi, aka Coconut Kels, Guguletu. You know what I'm saying? Some local girls getting given the right platforms. Because I always say there's a lot of talk when people want to say how to thank ladies, and they do Ladies Month and Ladies Week and feature this, but it's like.
And I love that it's not in August. Shout outs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a real put on is a real put on. Doesn't just come from lip service and just saying shout out and putting your fist in the air or some shit like that. Actually putting your money where your mouth is, literally. People are already working, so they need the support that must come with financials, with opportunities. So shout out to Spotify for always recognizing that.
Yes.
We see ya. Straight into our unpopular questions of the week.
And hand it over to our beautiful guest.
So what do I do?
You're gonna pick one of those bad boys out. I'm gonna read it out for you.
I
and
remember
then
this from Cotton Fest.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
That's our favorite box because it gets everybody a little nervous.
All right, let's see what this week's one says.
Can you even read the handwriting?
I can, but this question is
Must I pick another one?
I think you should pick another one. This one is
What? Is it political?
no, it's not political. It's a little bit boring, and also it's speaking about movies that I haven't seen. You know what I mean?
Ah, that's why.
You can pick another.
Because you can't comment.
I'm advertise.
I also haven't seen the first one. Do you
You
know
haven't
that?
seen Avatar?
You haven't seen the first Avatar.
Nah,
Seen the
stop
first
it.
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Come
Come on,
you're
Miss
busy.
Cosmo.
You're mad. You haven't seen the second one. So you're the same person.
The second one is, at least it came out
The first one
within
is
the last year.
legendary.
I
Come on.
haven't even seen the first
Ah,
one.
that's
But to be fair, I'm
crazy.
also the same person who hadn't seen Lord of the Rings, remember? So give me a chance. Give me a chance. I've got it. Don't worry. I've got it on Disney.
But you've seen Black Panther though.
Yes, I have. I've seen Black Panther. I'm a Marvel girl.
Woman
Wakanda
King.
Forever.
I'm a
I
Marvel
haven't seen
girl.
Woman King yet.
I haven't seen Woman King, but I've seen Wakanda
Oh, no,
Forever.
Tuso in it, right?
Who are these people?
That's why I know Tuso in it. Woman King.
Yes.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to the premiere, and then my life happened, and then I just didn't make it.
So if it's not a premiere, you're not
No, I generally do go. But anyway.
All right. Anyway, unpopular question of the week: do you think Trevor Noah should take over America as a household name in movies, or continue touring with comedy?
Okay.
It's very interesting. This one, I'll let you go first, or do you want me to?
I'll start.
Okay.
I think what he did in America was more than enough. Like, he's been doing the Oscars, he did his show daily,
Yeah.
and now he must go on the road and tour and like actually get his energy back up, because I feel like it could be pretty draining being in America every single day,
Yeah.
being on the same show. Like, I love that what he did. He went, he conquered. He doesn't need to be there to the end of his lifetime, and he can go travel the world and flourish. Like,
Yeah.
big up.
Big ups, man. I mean, I do think he can always kind of create like a base. So obviously, yes, he might not be on the Daily Show, and the Daily Show is a very big platform, but people know Trevor Noah now.
Yeah.
So he can create something. He can create like a big production of his own. If you can look at people like Kevin Hart, who have then said, okay, cool, I am a comedian, yes, I do tour, but I've also got like a production where I can make movies. I've got places where I'm trying to build people, I'm trying to grow young artists. I think because he's got that leverage now, he needs to build that to bring the rest of Africa
That's
with him
true.
to America. However, I do agree that he does need to continue to tour, because at some point you still need to be yourself so that people can see, okay, I still got it,
Yeah.
but on top of me getting it, I'm also then trying to build everybody else.
Yeah, on the touring side, I don't think he's gonna stop. Since getting back in the touring circuit a few years ago, now he's doing world tours. You know what I'm saying? He's probably on his like third world tour in as many years or whatnot. So he's able to sell out arenas now in places where originally pre-Daily Show might have been tricky, but now he's an international superstar. You know what I'm saying? He's exactly where the Kevin Harts and the Dave Chappelles are in the same
Yes.
arenas. They're selling these places out
Yeah.
from Japan to Europe to
Canada.
South America, is everywhere. And he is a household name in America and very well respected and connected that side. You know what I'm saying? You can call Beyonce and Jay-Z your best friends or your homies. You know what I mean?
Busta Rhymes.
When you're rapping with the Busters or whatever, hosting the Grammys 3 years in a row, that guy is made.
The Grammys, yes.
It'll be great to see Trevor Noah move in a similar direction to Kevin Hart, as you've said, to build his own thing, his own production, his own empire.
To bring the kids, to bring
Absolutely, to try and bring open doors for talent, create that, you know what I'm saying, that slipstream that guys can be able to move from America or from South Africa into the American and international market with a little bit more ease, knowing that they got a co-sign from not just the homeboy, but somebody who's very respected that side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would be very great to see. I am worried only about one thing, and is that they asked Trevor Noah what he thinks about Kevin Hart, you know what I'm saying? And he was speaking about Kevin Hart's work ethic. And it's like, Kevin Hart is the hardest working person I've ever met in my life. And I'm just not like this guy.
Oh, really?
And also, I don't want to be like this guy.
Oh,
he says he has no desire to be like Kevin Hart. He's like, this guy's got like 7 shows and he's on tour and he's making a movie and he has a production company and he owns a restaurant. And he's like, he's naming all these things and he's like, I have no desire to be like that guy or to work as hard as he does. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's his character and who he is in terms of like Kevin Hart. But who he is, he's trying to move at his own pace. So one thing that we know that he likes doing is touring. So we know he won't stop doing that. On the business side, I don't think he's going to let go of opportunities, but he probably has no desire maybe to have his own like network
but
or
I
anything
think
like
I
that.
like the idea that Noni Miss Cosmo is saying of like production company.
I would love to see that.
Or like maybe having going on tour with comedians. What was it back in the day with it like Def Jam
Or
comedy?
like Def Comedy, yeah.
Yeah, like have that and then be on the road and only have like South African or African comedy.
That would be
comedians.
amazing.
And like maybe you there, my boy.
You know what I mean?
Have you met him before?
Put the homie on. Have I met Trevor before?
Yeah.
I have, but this was back in the day, before he left for any of the Daily Show
That's
things.
dope.
But,
But I mean, like something like that, a Def Jam comedy, and you take it worldwide. I feel like that would be epic.
Absolutely. The way Kevin Hart does, because a lot of people don't know this until they go to his shows, but his boys open for him all the time.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Those are some of his best friends. Spank, Naima, Harry. You know what I'm saying? Not Harry, sorry. I forget the other guy's name. Harry's just in one of these businesses. But even in the podcast, he hosts with those guys. And every time he takes on tour, the 3 of them open for him all the time.
Amazing.
You know what I'm saying? Every single show. He just doesn't put them on the poster. So everyone who goes to see him for the first time sees those guys come out for the first time and doesn't expect it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But he opens for they travel with him everywhere around the world.
Does
They open
Trevor
with
have
them.
people opening for him when he goes on tour?
When I saw Trevor last time in South Africa, I remember the one time Robbie Collins opened for him.
Okay.
I'm not sure who opened for him when he did the show at the Dome, because I think that's the last show he did before the
South
Dome
Park.
turned into like a car park. So I hope in his new tours right now that maybe he's putting guys like that on. I know, but Robbie Collins has been able to go and do some tours in America and New York.
I have
I'd like
seen
to
them
think.
together. That's dope.
I'd like to think some of those things come from maybe even knowing a Trevor Noah or somebody who knows somebody who's able to co-sign you.
Yeah, that's
David Kibuka, who was his homie back here when he went to the Daily Show, he took David with him. He was one of the writers on the show.
Sick.
So he's definitely about keeping his boys close.
And sometimes you don't like. I get him not wanting to be a hard worker because nobody works like Kevin Hart. Like Kevin Hart's
of course,
crazy.
it's
I
extreme.
think that might also be like a
Yeah.
young short man
No,
syndrome.
yeah. There's a lot happening. there.
Overcompensating.
There's way too much. Ngapa, he's a father. He's a husband. It's too much.
Yeah.
But I do think work within your means. So right now he's let go of the Daily Show, so he's got all the time now to then say, okay, what else am I building? How am I building a legacy? Yes, he can still go on tour, but he can go on tour and then build a small little production company to then say, okay, with these people, maybe he can just delegate. People also forget that you can also just build a business and then you hire people.
Yeah.
They do all the groundwork. You're just the brains behind it. And you can still sit at home and watch your TV while everyone else is working.
Straight.
I mean, come on.
I get it, man. I get wanting to enjoy your time and be like, especially if you're rich. You know, some people be like, yeah, we can always get richer. And Trevor's like, I'm chilling though.
Because he was making serious
financially,
guap.
he's
Yeah.
like he's set for life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, for
So
sure.
everything else has to be just what he wants to
like
do.
passion projects.
But
I like
I would
that
love
though.
to see that. I like
Because
him.
you also don't want to grow old and grow in resentment in like a space that you're in. You want to be happy. So I also get why he's just like, hey, for now I'm just relaxing. You can do that.
But yeah, man, Trevor, I'm sure you're gonna do something for the boys locally and take that shit international.
Yes.
All right. Let's get into some new music from the week. I'm not sure what you've managed to listen to, Ms. Cosmo, but I think the biggest talking point in terms of music the past week, of course, has been Mass Country.
Yes.
The numbers that it did the first day that it dropped, millions of views, like we said at the top of the show, on Spotify and Apple Music and across other streaming platforms. What do you think of the songs that you've heard so far on the album, Do Up? I know you said you haven't had a chance to bump the entire thing.
Yeah, I haven't bumped the entire thing, but I mean, I like it. I I like the direction, I like the sound, I like all the collabs.
Yeah.
I like the album, but I just feel like I need more time to sit with it properly, listen to it from the beginning
But
to
also
the
you were
end.
traveling, that's also why. So you're in and out, you're doing other things.
I was also bumping Don Toliver, to be honest with you.
I definitely listened to Mass Country this past week. Got a chance to kind of, really let it sit in. There are a couple of firm faves. I know everyone is going mad over Mbuzi. I really, 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 really appreciate the fact that he chose somebody like Tato Soul to be a feature on that, and not necessarily went straight for like a 25K, or maybe went straight for somebody like an Aries or a Blackie or whatever to do that freestyle. The reason why I'm appreciative of him choosing Tato is because Tato is like doing big things, but I think he's just underappreciated right now. And for him to kind of put that spotlight on him is going to do wonders for somebody like Tato. And I think, not to say anything bad about the other guys, I also think they're dope, but I think they've elevated themselves to like a proper good status, whereas Tato kind of needed that cosign to kind of take him to the next level. So shout outs to Tato for being on that freestyle. Mbuzi is definitely really dope. I'm enjoying Sponono.
Yeah.
I love the melodies and that, obviously, with Java on there. I love Crown with Manana and MT. Obviously, I mean, Big Hustle. Come on, you can't go wrong with MT. So that's also just.
Did Maglera make the album?
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
Unfortunately, he didn't.
Did they manage to make a song together at all?
I'm not sure if they actually managed to, because I think I remember whispers of them wanting to work together.
Okay.
But he's definitely not on the album.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any throwaway tracks. It'll be interesting to see what happens with what I'm sure there's verses, there's unfinished songs, there's, you know what I'm saying? And if you know anything about AKA and how he said, of course he was a perfectionist, he didn't just want to release anything. If the vibes wasn't right, if it's old song, then it just stays in the past. Even, is it Kamza?
Yeah.
And he was playing some jams, and some of them were like unreleased. He was like, this is an old track.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we never released it, but he played it anyway. And it's like, half the
probably
time.
so much music.
Yeah,
There's
like,
so much. There's so much
We
that they
can
did as
even make
Ivy
a
League.
second album, third album after.
It'll be very interesting to see if they're able to take some verses and rework some songs, make
Yes.
them sound in a standard that he would have been happy with, and then maybe add new features. Because I'm sure there's some music. Mass Country maybe will hopefully not be the last we hear from
I don't
AKA.
know. I'm on
Maybe
the fence about things like that.
I'm also.
I'm on the
Look,
fence
I
about
understand.
posthumous. Yes.
I
I'm just like,
understand.
did this person choose for this to
Yeah.
come out like
Yeah.
this? Like, at least we know with Mass Country, this was AKA's vision.
Yeah.
So we can appreciate it because he wanted it to come out like this.
Yeah.
I am 100% happy with it because it was done before he passed away.
Yes.
Anything that comes out afterwards, I'm always just like,
It's a weird one. for
Tricky.
sure.
It can be very tricky, but like I said, sometimes there's some good verses that just need new beats, new melodies. You know what I'm saying?
but then artists also change their minds.
Of course they do.
And I say that as somebody who goes into studio, you record a banger with somebody, and then 2 weeks later, that person says, "Nah, I'm not feeling it anymore."
Put that out. Don't
And
put
then
that
it's
out
like
there.
the artist doesn't resonate with the song. Literally 2 weeks later, they're like,
No,
"No,
it's true.
I don't dig it anymore." So that's why I'm a little bit sensitive around songs dropping that weren't approved by the artists themselves. You know?
Yeah, no, like I said, it's very, very tricky, but I guess the people closest to him would make those decisions, find out if there is any opportunity for them to ever release any other music that they think. All I know is that if it ever does come out, then it would have some real decisions would have been made. You know what I'm saying? And if it maybe, like, I would say verses over sounds. Sometimes you can get over a song's sound, but a verse might still be like, actually, you could put that somewhere. It could, maybe it's a feature you gave somebody, but it's unreleased or something like that. So it'll be dope to hear if anything ever does come out. But in the meantime, I guess Mass Country is what we're left with.
What are your faves on there?
I like, well, the song with Kedominant is still my favorite.
Yeah,
Company, you know, and that melody is stuck in my head 24 hours a day. I can't, no matter what I'm doing, what I'm listening
One
to.
girl not enough for you.
And let me tell you something, it's not a popular
Two
song in the
girls
house.
not enough
I'm
for
trying to
you.
get stairs down in the house. So, hey, my man, what's going on there? I'll be there, 6 girl, not enough. She's like, you need to cool it down a little bit. Huh? So I love that. I do love Boozy as well. I love one of the last tracks on the tongue, Army.
Yes,
I love Army. I love the beat on it. I love it has this epic kind of like we're coming to the end of this. You know what I'm saying? This production.
That one's also very like WWE vibe.
It is very
like
very
you can see like this was like a personal choice to say I know the album sounds like this, but this one is for me.
It samples the Mortal Kombat finisher. You know what I'm
finish
saying?
him,
Fatality. It has those low samples on it. But yeah, so far I do love the album and a lot of the features on it. The song with Manana and MT as well is a fave. I like Nadi Nakai on the feature that she has.
Dangerous.
On Dangerous. I thought
That's
was very.
been making the rounds. I've been seeing that one.
And with some other songs, like for example, when Paradise dropped in December, I was like, it was alright. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. In the context of the album, I'm enjoying it a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens, and I hope some of the other songs start to grow on me. In general, I think it's a dope album.
Yeah.
It'll be
I
interesting
hope
to
there's
see.
some music videos. Even.
I hope so too.
I
Do you
don't
think
know.
it's weird?
At least one, yeah.
I'm hoping.
sure he did
I'm
release
hoping.
one.
I'm hoping there's at least one
Yeah.
for. Oh no, but he released for Paradise, right? There is a music video for that. I'm not too sure if there's one for Prada.
Nah, there isn't one for Prada.
I was hoping that there would be one for Company because that was the last single to come out.
Yeah.
So I was hoping maybe they shot something when he was in LA, but they just recorded the song and that was it. So I don't know.
They'll probably be left with like the snippets that you take behind the scenes and whatnot.
And chop it
There'll
up.
probably be a tribute video of one or other of the tracks on there. You know what I was thinking about, and I don't know if this is a terrible idea or if it works, but it'll be cool to see what a tour looks like of an album of an artist who's not with us anymore.
So like everyone featured on theirs on tour.
Like maybe it's one show, you know what I'm saying?
I think
and
one
they
show. I don't think they'd go on
maybe
tour.
a tour maybe is a bit of a stretch, but maybe like a one sold out
massive
show
celebration.
where everybody comes together, old and new from the album to say maybe it's a tribute show, but the production of it really resonates and make like we don't feel like the person is missing. We feel like that they're almost in the
Like
same
a
vein
Cotton
as
Fest.
they did with what do they have? Dr. Dre brought out Tupac at Coachella.
Oh, with the hologram.
With the hologram.
Oh my
I'm not for
God.
holograms.
Not quite the
That's
hologram
scary.
vibe. Not quite the hologram vibe, but
Yeah.
something to say, you know what, we're celebrating this person, but it's not like,
Like
in a
his visuals in
creepy
the
ass
back,
way.
maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm still trying to come to grips with? Like I get it, like the team has his social media like details, but wow, the tweeting and the posting is throwing me off because like
you see his
It
face
is.
because you
come
see
up.
his face come up and you see his handle and you think it's him, but it's obviously not him because it's the team. And I think I'm still trying to make sense of that. Also because with Ricky, like the last tweet was his last tweet, his last post was his last post. And then with AKA stuff, yes, I get it. They're trying to promo. I 100% am behind that. I just think it's weird for me to see his name posting things and he's not here.
I was thinking about that, but I also realized like he built that following over so long, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So why not use it to promote the
yeah.
album?
That's
you know?
true.
So
I guess, man, because at the end of the day, they definitely are trying to, like we were speaking earlier about where does the money go and whatever. There's still money being generated from his estate now. And
Money must go to Cairo,
One of
please.
those beneficiaries is definitely going to be his daughter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
she has to.
even while his dad is gone, his music will continue to be played on streaming platforms. And hopefully, you know what I'm saying, those that deserved of it or that worked on those music continue to make a little bit of coins on it. You know what I mean?
Man.
Anyway, with that said, we've come to the end of this week's show. Thank you so much to our guest, DJ Doo-Wop.
Thank you for having me. It was so wonderful. I knew I was gonna have fun, and I did. So thank you.
Where else are you
Fantastic.
going to be jetting off to? Because when
No,
your passport must be so full. Jeez.
Girl.
My passport is full, but like there's Bali, Singapore.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I want to touch Asia now.
Oh, nice.
But there's a lot, and obviously still Europe in June, July.
Oh, nice. All right,
Look,
cool.
needs to slice me into this European passport life. You know what I'm saying? This getting a visa thing is
It's tricky, but I
it's a
mean,
bit
it's
of a
working.
slowdown.
Like we're talking about all the Amapiano producers and DJs.
They're pushing
like,
though, yeah.
Yeah, it's not that difficult anymore. Like getting
Yeah.
a visa for South African passports.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, we're going to keep on pushing. That's all that matters. And of course, a big shout out to our venue as well for today. Maracana come through in
Maracana.
Santon. They've got the nice summertime vibes, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So come through, come check it out. As you can see, even with our backdrop here, we're just pushing summer one way.
I'm glad we had this colorful backdrop because I feel like it complements Doo-Wop.
Yes. And also, I know some people sometimes worry a little bit about weather, whatever, and maybe if it's raining. I remember I came here the one day when it was raining, and the covers actually cover you up, so you actually don't like get bothered too much about the weather.
And there's
so
an indoor section.
there's the indoor section, there's the outdoor
It's a vibe.
section, but there's a lot of coverage. So don't ever let the weather deter you. Just come through to
And they
Maracana,
said they're
check it
opening
out.
a whole restaurant.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a whole
nice.
vibe going on
Yeah.
here. Trust me, there's shelter. You ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, from us, you know how to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think about what we spoke about on the show. Keep it locked next week. We're probably going to come at you guys with a little bit of something from Bacardi Holiday Club. You know what I'm saying? Another podcast goes to Special. Until then, keep it locked on the POPcast. We out.